let you introduce yourself again. I know we did a little introduction. It was more like a test run with the Mud King, but a lot of people haven't heard that yet. So maybe you could fill the people in on a little bit about yourself, what got you started into science fiction.
All right, sure. Well, my name is Adam Watt, and the great influences that I've had that I have that really started me on the path of writing stories and whatnot. It has been Star Wars, actually.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I've actually read almost every Star Wars book made. And so there's that.
Oh, okay. I got something to add. Do you know where George Lucas actually got the idea for Star Wars from?
The exact idea I don't know, though I do know the kind of the influences and ideas he had behind the Force, though.
Oh, what is that?
Oh, the Force is basically kind of a combination of a lot of different kinds of Eastern Asian kind of spiritual and religious aspects. That's pretty much it, really. But yeah.
I think it was the ancient Vedic texts have a story in there that's really, really similar. A lot of the characters match the characters, and it was actually straight out of the Vedic texts, the ancient Sanskrit texts from India.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, and then go on a bit. I'm sorry I interrupted you there. Maybe you could just go on with from there.
Well,
remember where you were.
All right, I'm going to continue. I've published a couple stories on Amazon, both of which are actually compiled and expanded on in my latest novella called The Rebirth: Shades of Apocalypse. The story chronicles a war between humankind and the Daovak race of aliens that are subjugated by their leader, the Supreme Commander. And here's the blurb I made for it, if you want. It's Todd, a man of simple tastes. He wakes up after a night of partying and is thrust into an unimaginable and terrifying situation, with explosions everywhere and the casualties of an alien-fueled apocalypse mounting. He vows to avenge the fallen. But this is no easy task, as the aliens have many billions of bodies between him and the Supreme Commander of the Daovak. However, there is still hope in the form of an ancient alien technology and the will to use it. In this dark and moving story, you will be on the edge of your seat, as you will bear witness to the new chapter of the story of humanity. That'd be my blurb.
That's awesome, man. I love it, man. That's awesome.
Thanks.
You wrote that yourself, or was that written by someone else?
That was actually something I wrote up.
Okay, all right. That's a nice take. I thought it was somebody that was actually praising you may have done that for you, but I could write something up for you if you want.
That'd be pretty cool too, sure.
I'm pretty good with words when it comes down to introductions.
Yeah.
But it would be silly, because I'm very silly. Okay. Yeah. So what we were talking about before was the alien, the names, and So the alien race is like mostly reptilian. And where did you get the idea? Have you had any experiences?
Well, I've had one experience of a type of a UFO from quite a few years back. It was during a camping trip, and I remember I was looking, I was gazing into the fire, but then I felt this tingling sensation all over my body, and I actually felt compelled to look up. And when I did look up, I saw this golden light that just as soon as I looked at it, it zoomed off to the west, I believe, and it had to have been going anywhere from 700 to 1,000 miles an hour. It's zooming pretty fast.
How high up would you say it was? Could you was it an actual solid craft, or was it something that you had no reference point to, or was it just like you said, a light ship made of light?
Yeah, it was kind of a solid golden yellow kind of a colored craft.
Oh, so it was metallic? Maybe metallic?
It did have some gleamings of a metallic type of a surface, though it had a lot of golden light kind of shooting from it. And it was
well, I've seen things. Yeah, I've seen things like this, so it's not uncommon for me. I can probably tell you that craft had some sort of an energy field around it that was giving off a plasma field of some sort that almost makes it look like fiery.
Yeah.
And when they move fast, they streak across the sky, and it looks like a golden light. Yeah.
Yeah. And other than that, I think that was my only real experience with UFOs and such.
Did you notice that the time when you saw it and the time after? Did you have any time loss?
I didn't actually. It was I believe 7:55, and when I looked down on my watch, it was 7:58 or so. Yeah.
Okay.
So it wasn't too bad of a gap there, but
yeah. But the thing that interests me is that you said that you had a feeling to look up there.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I did.
I have the same sort of intuition. My hair stands up on end, and then I'll say, "Oh my God, look at that!" And there's usually people with me that have witnesses on most of my sightings. That I usually have witnesses, so because I pointed out, and then everybody's looking, but I'm the one that had the weird feeling and just to look there.
Yeah,
which is pretty strange.
It's the subconscious alerting you yet.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what. But I think I probably was experimented, abducted since I was a child, and it's a psychic thing where they, like I've had before, where it's almost like, look at me, look over here, here I am. And I could hear them say it in my head. Like, look at us. So, we're right here. Take a look at us. We're showing ourselves. Like.
And is it kind of like a mixture of like thoughts, emotions, and will? kind of at the same time?
For me, it's like a spooky kind of a feeling, like somebody's watching me, and then I'll hear a voice say inside my head saying, look over this way, up to the left, or whatever, and I'll know exactly where to look.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the one time what was I going to tell you about? I've even seen lake monsters. I've seen a lake monster, yeah. That's crazy. But I just got a feeling for I was probably 11 years old. This was on Lake Erie.
Oh yeah.
Place called Port Burwell. It's a small little town, but there was a bunch of fishermen out on the pier. I was with my dad. He's doing an erosion control project, and
Really?
I was looking way out in the water because I thought that was the coolest place to look. And I noticed something splashing way out there, and I thought it. And it looked. I had pretty good vision back then. When you're little, you could see pretty good.
Yeah.
I thought it was dolphins jumping. I didn't know any better. I said, "Look, that really looks like dolphins jumping out there." And some of the people around me heard me say that, and the one guy, he said, "Well, that is not dolphins, kid. I don't know what the hell that is." And he almost dropped his fishing pole in the water, and he was pretty startled. And then as I looked again, this thing was about the size of an ocean liner, gray on the distance. Like, I'd seen a lot of, not ocean liners, but oil tankers way out there.
Oh yeah.
So I used to seeing them, so it was about that same size and distance away. But this thing was coiling through the water, big huge coils coming out of the water like a corkscrew, and you could see the water splashing off these big coils.
Wow. I've actually heard of something similar like that being reported in the skies with seemingly organic kind of organisms that have like the body is shaped similar to like a cork or like a corkscrew, and they fly around with quite a lot of speed, almost like a helicopter almost.
That's, yeah. I've heard about also this guy that takes pictures of these strange, looked like living creatures with his homemade telescope camera. I forget his name, but these are really cool too. I'm gonna try to find some of those and post them on Facebook later. Okay, let's get back to the aliens in your book. So they're mostly reptilian, so that means you can what I usually do with reptilians is bonk them with a stick and then fry them up. They taste like chicken.
The reptilians in my book are actually they grew up in a world that has like a massive gravity. So basically, it's a really big world, and due to astrophysics, I believe it was. The bigger the world is, the shorter the life forms have to be down to the ground. So so I kind of took that in account for my books, and so the Dowback are a bit shorter down to the ground, a bit stockier. And and their skulls are quite a bit more thicker, and so the old bonking them on the head doesn't quite work.
Aw, that's too bad, because they do taste pretty good. Like, what do you think of Hillary Clinton? Do you think she's an reptilian?
Who knows?
I don't know. I had to say something about the stupid election.
Yeah.
I hope they just find out they're both reptilians. But if it, and then they could have a big bonk fest and fry them up and chicken tasting reptilian for everybody.
Yeah.
Yum. I don't think I'd eat that.
Yeah, I don't think I would either.
No.
You'd probably get a fair amount of hair in your mouth.
I heard that there was pictures of Hillary with flies crawling all over her. That's kind of weird. What is she, a robot? Just can't feel the flies crawling all over her? Or does she just not very cleanly, like she doesn't wash her hoo-ha very good?
It could be both.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So yeah, your story actually reminds me a lot of Star Wars, and I love the descriptive. I like the names. I don't know where you get these names. And when you write, do you find that it's you writing, or do you feel like someone else is telling you the story over top your shoulder?
Yeah, it's when I write my books, it's actually more like I'm watching kind of a movie. It's it's basically me writing and not really any other kind of influences coming into my mind, really.
Wow. I pegged that one, I think. Yeah. So, do you want to? I'm thinking we're gonna put a song on, have a little break, and then be right back. I think, people. What do you think?
All right.
Unless you got something to say before we go to break.
I think I'm good here.
All right then. Wolfman's gonna put on some music here. I'm gonna put on a song called "The River." It is an original from the Wolfman. Here we go. Rock and roll, baby. Yeah. We're back. Yeah. Hey. I had to, let's see. I had to let it go for another song because, well, we'll not get into that. Yeah. How many times we shake it and stuff. If you if you shake it too many times, you're playing with yourself, right?
Yeah.
So, I guess I did. Oh, and Adam, I think I would love to hear that introduction that you told me about. You're going to read an introduction to the book?
That I am, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
I'd love to hear that right now, buddy. Yeah, right on.
Yeah, it's actually going to be up on Amazon pretty soon. So you guys are going to be hearing it first.
Nice. Okay.
All right. Yep. Here goes.
First time on the air. Here we go. Thank you, sir.
Dear Birth, future of destruction. Flame flowed through the streets of LA like a tidal surge. People scream in terror as their lives burn away. An alien spaceship soared through the sky as it blasted apocalyptic fire down onto the city. More screaming, more cries of agony. A strange creature the size of a husky appeared on the Hollywood Hills sign, its ant-like mandibles filled with razor-sharp spikes, chattering at a woman. The creature's blue insect body quivered in anticipation of a quick meal. Its long front legs had sharp membranes in between its wrists and its shoulders, and 3 sharp talons on its fingers. The alien curved its spine, preparing to pounce on this woman. As the girl screamed, the creature leaped off the hill and landed on the woman's chest and started tearing her flesh. The woman screamed, and then there was only silence. This eviscerator severed her head and feasted on her flesh. The woman looked in my direction. Fear engulfed me as I waited to die. The red-headed psychic Azrael awoke from the horrific dream of apocalyptic doom. She had been riding the subway train on the way to the LAPD. She was the first and most accurate psychic investigator. She was the secret weapon against the evils of the city. Shaking off the overwhelmingly dark images, Azrael walked out the doors into the subway terminal. She looked at the stairs leading up to the street. She sighed as she took in the brisk winter landscape. It snowed the previous day, and the weather conditions hadn't changed. She looked down and scowled at her new leather dress shoes that got wet. Great weather today, she said under her breath. She jumped as a fire truck suddenly turned on its sirens. Images from the dream played in her mind. Fire, death, and frightening destruction. She could still hear the terrified screams filled with pain and desperation. She had been having the same dream for the past 2 weeks, and she knew that the images were more than recurring nightmares. They were visions of the future. She gulped as she hailed a cab. Within moments, a yellow taxi pulled over to the curb, and Azrael smiled because shortly she would be she would focus on the LAPD's latest case. She had heard that it was a major one involving serial mass murders with unusual characteristics. The thought of a serial killer frightened her, but not as much as what was to come. The ride to the LAPD was bumpy and filled with honking horns, slowly walking pedestrians, and dancing corner store mascots. She felt herself becoming anxious as she got closer to her destination. Moments later, the taxi pulled over to the side of the road, and the driver said, "That'll be $39, miss." Azrael nodded and quickly paid the man, and then proceeded to walk into the LAPD building. Even though she had been working with them for many years, they still gave her strange looks. She didn't let their skepticism bother her. She just kept walking to Tom Damon, her contact within the department. "Hey, Azrael. Thank Christ you're here. As you know, we have our hands full with a serial killer. We need you to look at these pictures. Do your magic." The lieutenant opened up the file folder containing 7 photos. Most were of dead women, but 2 showed male victims. These bodies had strange talon-shaped wounds on their chests, and their eyes seemed to have been eaten. Azrael gulped as she realized what had caused those injuries. She had, after all, seen the same wounds inflicted on the woman from her visions. Azrael could only stare at them in disbelief. Tom could see it on her face. She knew who the murderer was. "Azrael," he looked into her emerald eyes. "You know who this is, don't you?" Azrael nodded slowly and said, "Yes, but this is not a typical serial killer. An unusual creature caused these injuries. I've been seeing them for weeks, in my visions, but to see them killing this soon is very, very bad news." Tom looked down to the photos and touched one. "Are you telling me that some creature is committing all of these killings? You know that we can't run with that. Besides, the coroner reported that an animal couldn't have created these wounds." Azrael looked into his eyes and said, "Tom, is it alright if I connect with your mind?" Tom raised an eyebrow, but then nodded. Azrael brought her hand to his temple. Suddenly, a wave of thoughts and memories washed over Tom's mind. He saw images of a beast ripping and tearing a woman to pieces, then leaping toward him. Tom shouted as the last frightening image entered his mind. Azrael's seeming death. All of the officers who heard the outburst looked at him incredulously as he brushed his hands on his vest. Tom blushed as the commissioner walked over to him. "What information has our psychic brought us today, Tom only said, "Nothing that is actionable of yet, sir." The commissioner smiled at Azrael and said, "You better step up your game, missy. We've got bad guys to nab and clowns to nut punch." Suddenly, Azrael felt a familiar dark presence. She quickly put her hand on Tom's shoulder and said, "We gotta get out of here, now. One of these monsters is close by." Screams of terror broke out in the streets. People ran by the front windows, and Azrael knew that she needed to escape the building soon, or she would certainly die. She grabbed Tom's arm and with a desperate look said, "We go now, or we die. What's your decision?" He nodded to the staircase and took off. Azrael followed close by as she heard the sounds of gunshots and horrifying screams that were silenced all too quickly. The end had come. They dashed up the staircases until they reached the roof. As they wandered to the edge, Azrael found herself tearing up. Alien ships were firing on buildings, and she could see people set aflame. Azrael looked at Tom and said, "I saw this rooftop in my visions." She turned around and started to weep. There was graffiti on the side of the door. "Tom, look." She pointed at the graffiti, and Tom said, "Hollywood Hills, fine entertainment and fine women, classy." A woman screamed from down below. Azrael sprinted to the edge and looked down, as tears ran down her cheeks. The same woman from her prophecy screamed in terror as an alien beast pounced from a mound of dirt, no doubt created by a massive blast. She died in the same fashion as a dream, in all the gory details. The beast looked up at Azrael, and its teeth chattered. It jumped onto a nearby car. Then with extraordinary strength, it leaped into the air. It crashed onto the side of the wall, then drove its talons in and started climbing. The creature looked from Azrael to Tom, trying to decide whom to kill first.
Oh, man, okay. Can I stop you right there? Because that's so deadly, man. That's so cool and spooky. Right. Great narrative. Oh, it's so real, man. I didn't know it was like so real like that. Like, that is cool.
Yeah.
But I think we have someone on with us. Dave, are you there? It says he's there on the call. He's left. Oh, I don't know. I thought he was there.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Calling out to occupants of interplanetary craft on Skype. Is there anybody else there? Okay, I guess not. Strange. I could be wrong. Oh, it's only 2 and call. Okay. They're available. But they're not on with us. I get it. All right.
Okay. Shall I continue?
Anyways, the guys, if you're listening, you can join in. Anyone that I've added to this call, all you have to do is look at the chat on Skype. Go to the chat window on Skype, and down at the bottom it'll say join group, and you'll be in on the call without even calling. It'll just pop you in. Or if anyone out there wants to call in and talk with Adam, it's 775 990-8447. Yeah, 47. Yeah, 47. Yeah. 8447-775-990-8447. That's the Monster Castle Paranormal. We have our own number now. Isn't that neat? Yeah, I like it. It's nice to have a number because some people can't use Skype very well, so it's just easier. Yeah. They just call in. I'm surprised that maybe, I don't know, maybe something's not working right. I don't know why they can't join in, but that's fine. I want to get into something else though, because I know we're running out of time here.
All right.
Actually, because I only have a half an hour left.
All right.
And we can, if you want to continue that intro after you're finished, then let's get into that, your friend and I really want to talk about the real life X-Men.
Oh, yes.
But go ahead and finish your introduction. I thought there was somebody on with us. I didn't want to ignore them. Thank you. Sorry for interrupting. Go ahead, Adam.
All right. Tom shrieked as the monster jumped on him, tearing his eyes out, flaying flesh from his face, while dismembering him with its free arm. Azra looked down in shock at her friend's dead body. The alien beast turned and faced her, blood dripping from its mouth. She knew that this was her last moment. The creature leaped on her and tore her arms off, followed by her legs. As blood drained onto the roof's pebbles, the alien plunged its teeth into her neck. Azrael felt a sharp tug, and she found herself floating above her lifeless body. She looked up as a brilliant light came crashing down on a nearby building. She stared in awe as the light overtook her. Night had fallen. Her soul was no more. The war for Earth had begun, but already Earth was losing. There you go.
So I was I interrupted you just before the end. That's weird. Wow. Okay. Oh, wow. That was really cool. I was wondering too, if you're on your own, you're a musician as well, right?
That I am, yeah.
What type of music do you play?
I typically play, typically it's rock, yeah. Rock or sometimes metal.
Like Pink Floyd type of rock, or?
It's I play a lot of songs done by the band called Cold. Don't know if you've heard of them or not.
Cold?
Yeah.
No, I'll have to check that out. Like COLD.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah,
they're never heard it.
Yeah, they're an awesome band.
Wow, I'm gonna have to check that out. It's too bad we didn't have one of their songs right now. Do you got one that you can play?
I do actually.
Wicked. Let's try it. See if you can get it to work on your board. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, I'll let some of the monsters out of my closet.
All right.
I think. Yeah. And why not? It's the Monster Castle Paranormal. So, we want to have monsters, we can have monsters. Eating people on the street. Oh yeah. working?
I almost got her.
Oh, nice. Because these monsters are kind of scary. I like to tell them. Man. I can hear something now. It may and it may not work because playing through Skype.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking it. Is it actually playing right now? Can you hear anything over there on your end?
Yeah, I can hear a bit of it, yeah.
No, I don't think it's going to work then.
Alright, here's one of the songs. It's called "Happens All the Time."
Okay.
It's from Cole's album, A Different Kind of Pain.
Oh, come on and work. Oh man. Okay, well, I guess you'll have to send it to me. It's not playing. We'll play it another time.
Oh, okay, sure. Right.
Doesn't seem to be working. What we'll do is, it's sometimes like I've rarely seen it work but sometimes it does. When you play through Skype, a lot of times it cancels it out as background noise or something. So maybe next time you're on, or you can always, like, even tomorrow. Actually, you can come on again tomorrow if you want.
Pretty cool, yeah.
With the other, with my regular panel, because they'll be available, I think, then, hopefully.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's saying that Jeff
awesome.
is available, but trying to add him to the call and it's not working. But yeah, he'll probably be on tomorrow too. So anyways, what time is it? 9:40. Let's have one song and then we're gonna get into the real juicy stuff.
All right.
Okay. How about I put on a nice song I wrote about my daughter. It's called Jasmine Flower. It's a beautiful song. I hope you guys enjoy this. Yeah.